Hi, good people. How are you? How is it going? Happy Thursday, everyone. My name is Ifama Odunlami, immigration attorney from the Odunlami Law Firm in New Jersey. My law firm serves clients in all 50 states. If you have an immigration matter, family-based, humanitarian-based, we're here to help you. We can assist clients who are not in New Jersey because immigration is federal law. And so if you have an immigration issue, give us a call, 973-993-1900. We do complicated immigration matters. We do VAWA, SJIS, U visa, T visa. You want to marry your spouse, naturalization. You have criminal records with naturalization. We do all of that. We also help clients get out of deportation proceedings. We represent you in immigration court. So that is some of the work we do. So if you're here, please let me indicate to me that you're here by letting me know where you're joining from. So guys, I have a really great topic for you today, and it has to do with VAWA, it has to do with deportation, it has to do with a successful case. We've had so many successful cases. I'm so thrilled. My staff know that once we get the mail, I leave my office because I need to go through it and see what do we have, what good news do we have, what good things are we going to share with our clients. It's so awesome being able to tell people, that the hard work that we have done, that their trust in us has materialized. So we're going to talk about this case that we had. We represented a guy who was in an abusive marriage. They had had an interview and the case had been denied because his spouse had sabotaged him on purpose. Hi guys, thank you for joining me. So he had been sabotaged on purpose, and so the marriage case was denied. So when he came to my office and we went over the facts of the case, it was clear that this man has suffered emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and it was really, really bad, right? There was no physical abuse, no, but it was a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of psychological abuse, a lot of financial abuse, a lot of verbal abuse. So a couple years later, the VAWA case was approved, which was so awesome. We were really excited for him, and we said to him, well, your VAWA case has been approved now, so we're just going to wait for the case to be sent to the field office so that your I-485 can be adjudicated, and then you will get your green card. So we waited a few months, nothing happened, and it was like, well, what's going on? So we called, or maybe he called us, and he said to us that he had received a notice to appear in immigration court. Apparently he'd received it sometime, maybe a few months before, but he didn't let us know because he didn't think it was important. Guys, ladies, listen to me. A notice to appear is always important. It means that there's deportation proceedings against you. Never ever think that you receive an NTA and you ignore it. So luckily for him, him ignoring the NTA had not caused any damage because he had a court hearing like maybe a year or 2 years from now. So anyway, what that meant was that his I-485 could not proceed because if you are in deportation proceedings, you cannot adjust your status to get your green card. So we had to terminate the court proceedings against him, the deportation proceedings against him. And so we prepared what we called a prosecutorial discretion brief and sent it to the ICE attorney, basically showing that our client was not a deportation priority. We also showed that he was a person of good moral character. We also showed that he had a VAWA approval already, which is a pathway to a green card and ultimately citizenship. And we asked them to join us in requesting the termination of the deportation process so that he could be removed from deportation court. And that is what they did. They signed off. We submitted to the court. The court signed off. And now my client is no longer in deportation deport. He's out of deportation, and so the I-485 will resume, and he will be able to continue his pathway, God willing, to getting his 10-year green card. So that is one success story I wanted to share with you guys, but it also brings me to this topic that I want to talk about: prosecutorial discretion. So, what is prosecutorial discretion? Well, it basically is the authority given to ICE officials, could be the ICE officials, or it could be the ICE attorney, to decide whether or not they're going to deport somebody. So let me give you a little background history on this prosecutorial discretion matter, because the Supreme Court had a ruling in June that was a resounding success for immigrants. So going back to September 2021, Secretary Mayorkas issued what is called enforcement priorities for the U.S. immigration enforcement workforce. What this means is that basically he listed the priorities of people that were going to be that they were going to spend money trying to deport. So there are a lot of people who are undocumented in the United States, and then there's not enough money to deport everyone. So the government has to prioritize the people who they will deport. Now, in the last administration, the Trump administration, they were pretty much deporting everybody. So Secretary Mayorkas's enforcement procedure was basically they were not going to they were only authorized to focus on deporting people who were national security, like terrorists, or who were public safety, who were a threat to public safety, such as people who have committed certain crimes, or people who were a threat to border security, which is people who have just come into the country illegally. So he put forward his enforcement priority, and two states, Louisiana and Texas, of course, I'm surprised Florida wasn't there, filed a lawsuit against the Biden administration. And basically, they wanted the Supreme Court to determine whether the state's plaintiffs, that's Texas and Louisiana, could prevent the Biden administration from adopting and implementing its own set of enforcement guidelines. So basically, they wanted to have the right to, stop the Biden administration from putting forward these guidelines, because immigration is federal law, and so they as states would have to abide, to that if that was the law. So on June 23rd this year, I think it was June 23rd, the Supreme Court issued a favorable discretion in a case called United States v. Texas, and basically said that the states lacked standing, which is they do not have the right to bring this lawsuit. So what that means for undocumented immigrants and the immigration population and immigration attorneys was that the prosecutorial discretion, the right to determine whether to deport somebody, now was given back to ICE officials, because now they could use the Biden enforcement priorities to determine whether or not they would deport somebody. So what this means is, if you are in deportation proceedings and you can get out of immigration court by having an attorney file a prosecutorial discretion request for you, and the prosecutorial discretion request is actually something informal. It's basically you have to make an argument to the ICE attorney, laying out why your client should not be deported. It could be because he has family ties in the United States. It could be because he already has a pathway to a green card, such as he has an approved VAWA case, like in the case of my client, or he has an approved I-130, which means a family member has filed for him, or that it could be that showing that he's a person of good moral character. He's very he's ties to the community and how he helps other people. I mean, there's a lot that you can put down to show that your client should not be deported. And so we've been very successful with a lot of PD requests. We've been doing that a lot at my firm. And just not knowing that you're not in immigration court is a relief, because you don't have to worry about being deported. And so today I want to ask you guys, if you know somebody who is in deportation proceedings, you want to tell them that they should think about hiring an attorney to do a prosecutorial discretion request, because that could really help them, move their case forward. Because if you're in immigration court and you have an affirmative case, you cannot go forward, And like I said before, sometimes being in immigration court is also not a bad idea, because there are ways that you can get a green card through being in immigration court. Those are things that only an experienced lawyer can assist you with. So I don't think I have any questions, but I'm going to look through real quick and then answer a couple of questions, and then I will head out. So let's see. I'm not seeing any questions. There's no questions on Facebook. And let's see. So Alaji says, hi, best attorney. Thank you so much for your wonderful work. Your wonderful team changed my life now. I don't know what word to use to thank you and your team. You are so welcome, Alaji. It's such a pleasure. Thank you for trusting us. And, we are there to work hard for you to help you meet your American dream. So Mata Sekou Daki says, if I'm deported already since 12 years and I'm still here, and you've been reporting to ICE every year, never missing an appearance, can you help me? Now, Moha Sekudaki, that is an excellent question. We may be able to help you, but we have to have a consultation with you to see the reasons you were deported, to see whether we can reopen the deportation order, because there are factors that would allow us to open the deportation order so that we can see if we can terminate it. We do a lot of those cases. So call my office. Yes, you're in Florida. It does not matter if you're in Florida. We can help you. We've been able to assist so many people all over the country, Philadelphia, Florida, California. So call my office, 973-993-1900. I really, really enjoy doing deportation termination cases, because it really, it makes such a difference. So if you've been reporting to ICE every year, this is a good time to see if prosecutorial discretion, actually the motion to terminate, can be submitted on your behalf, because the law right now is under the Biden administration. As you know, during the Trump administration, it was different. So you want to take advantage of this current policy right now, because if another president comes into play in a couple of years, we don't know what it's going to be. So call my office, 973-993-1900. And it was a pleasure talking to you, Moha Sekou Daki. Thank you. So let's see if there's anybody else to talk to. As a matter of fact, just piggybacking on what Moha Sekou Daki says, he already has an order of deportation and he's still here. That happens quite often, actually. So if you have an order of deportation, you can appeal it with a BIA within a certain amount of days. But if you've been here like Moha for so long, then the appeal process is probably through. So you're looking at other ways to reopen the case. And once we talk to you, we can figure out what can be done for you. Okay, so Moha, call my office, 973-993-1900. So Brian Alvarado says, hello, I have 6 months of VAWA and no prima facie yet. So Brian says, you mean you filed VAWA 6 months ago and you haven't gotten your prima facie yet? Yes, the prima facie, sometimes it takes a little while, right? So I think you should be getting it anytime soon, but I wouldn't worry right now. But the prima facie sometimes takes a while. We've had, I think, a couple of clients in the past that we didn't even get a prima facie for the longest time, even though they ultimately approved. So if you file with an attorney, keep in touch with the attorney and see how that is going to work, okay? But I wouldn't worry about not getting a prima facie because it comes right here around 6 months, 6 to 8 months. It used to come like within a month before, and sometimes, some cases take longer. We're noticing it's taking a little longer now. So Red Label says, I'm a U.S. citizen about to apply for my wife and her kids. I want to know if the kids will be asked to come to the interview with us. They are age 8 and age 10. They're my stepkids. So Red Label, the question I want to ask you is your wife here in the United States? Like, if she's here in the United States, it's a different process from if your wife is abroad, which is a consular process. But regardless, if you didn't, your petition for your wife as a U.S. citizen is just for your wife. So the interview is for just you and your wife, right? That's if your wife is here in the United States. Now, if you wanted to file for the kids, because they're your stepkids, you have to file a separate petition for them. And that petition, of course, is dependent on the petition you filed for your wife being approved. Now, if your wife is going to be interviewed, if she's abroad, if it's a consular processing, you're not going to be there for the interview. It's just going to be your wife going for the interview. So in either situation, your kids are not going to be at the interview. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So Red Label says yes, she's here with the kids. So Red Label, the interview is for you and your wife, and you have to prove it's a bona fide marriage. You have to take all that stuff. You want your kids will not be asked to come for the interview. Your stepkids will not be asked to come for the interview. However, if you file the joint petition for them, that's a different interview. Sometimes they call you for an interview after, your wife's case is approved. Sometimes they just send a green card to the kids. So I'm not sure if you file for the kids, but I want you to know that if your wife gets the green card, the children are not derivatives. You either have to file for them, or she has to file for them. But I would recommend you file for them, because I'm sure they probably have overstayed this, they're out of status here. So it's only forgiven if you file for them. All right. So let's see what else. Let's see. Instagram is really hard for me to read because the prints are so tiny, and I can't really see that well. So, well, thank you guys for joining. So I think that's pretty much what I want to talk about. I wanted to ensure that you guys know that there are different ways to get out of immigration court, especially if you're a VAWA petitioner. There's also something called VAWA cancellation of removal, which is when you apply for VAWA while you're in immigration court. In our client's case, we did an affirmative VAWA petition because he was not in immigration court at the time that we filed the petition. And even then, sometimes it's an attorney's decision based on whatever, to decide whether or not they want to file an affirmative VAWA and then remove the case from immigration court, or they want to just go to immigration court and do a VAWA cancellation of removal. So Moha says, above all, I have a strong VAWA case, but because of my situation, my wife is mistreating me badly. But because I'm a deportee, my hands are tied. I'm looking to seek a T visa. Moha, we've had people who were ordered deported. We filed a VAWA for them, and we were able to reopen the deportation order to terminate the VAWA. To terminate the deportation case so that they could adjust their status. So we could help you. You don't have to. VAWA could help you. T visa would help you as well if it qualifies. But I wouldn't know until we speak to you. So you need to talk to a lawyer, Moha. You've been ordered deported. There's really no time to waste. Okay. All right. Daniela on Instagram says, is there any update on our path to citizenship after the DACA status? Daniela, unfortunately, no. We're DACA, it's just a really sad tale, because the politics of DACA wouldn't allow that to proceed. So right now they're not taking new DACA applications, and that has not changed. People who already have DACA can continue to, renew their DACA application, but no new DACA applications. That's where we are right now. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It was such a pleasure talking to you guys. And again, if you are in deportation proceedings, Talk to an attorney to see if there's a way you can get out of it. If you have a VAWA case, call our office. We're here to help you with your VAWA case, U visa, T visa, SJIS, and if you're in deportation proceedings. This is what we do all the time, and we are excited to help our fellow immigrants get legal status. So that'll be it for today. I'll try to join again next week. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and take care.